A warm and happy welcome to the class, all of you young minds. Today we are going to come across the last concept of hydrosphere unit 3. Today we are going to learn about how temperature variations occur in oceans and seas, which inland sea is having more temperature up to now registered. Apart from that, what are ocean currents, how they will be, definition of ocean currents and how they will be classified based on the temperature and also based on the speed they travel. Apart from that, what are the factors that influence the ocean currents and what are the uses we get from the water bodies, either oceans or seas and so on. What are the dangers? What is the danger that the oceans are facing or the sea waters are facing today? Is the thing we are going to come across. Apart from that, we also will learn two important words: El Nino, La Nino. El Nino, La Nino. What they are, how they will be forming. In the last class, we all have to remember we came across the factors that are cause for salinity in ocean and sea waters. Then after we came across what are the bodies which are having highest salinity, like Don John Pond in Antarctica, Lake Vanda in Antarctica, and also Repta in Senegal, and also Ethiopia. One more, the Getle in Ethiopia. They all are the place Getle, John Pond, John Pond is the highest saline water body in the world. Is in Antarctica. These all things we came across. At the same time, lowest salinity, Baltic Sea, that is between Denmark and Netherlands and so on, Netherlands, Sweden, so on, and Hudson Bay in America, where 3 to 15% of PPT will be, 3 to 15% PPT will be the salinity, fresh water mostly. So that story got completed in the last class, and today we are going to come across new terms also, two new terms. What are isobaths? What are isohalides? Iso means the lines you have to understand. The lines which will join things with similarity. Isobaths are also called as isobaths, BATHS. Isobaths, BATHS. Isobaths are also called as depth contours. Why they are called depth contours? These are the lines that will be joining the points are the places which are having the equal depth on the bed of a ocean or beneath the surface of the earth, below the surface of the earth, or under what we can call under ocean waters. The areas which are having same depth are joined by a line. Got it? That lines are called isobaths or depth contours. Able to understand? The points are places which are having equal depth, which are having equal depths under ocean waters or on the seabed. They will be joined by a line. That lines are called isobaths. And also they are also called as depth contours. Able to understand? And apart from that, isohalline, the line that join are isohalides, no problem. Halide or halides, no problem. Isohalide is singular. The line that joins the places which are having the same salinity in the seas or oceans, that lines are called isohalides. As isohalides, the lines that join the places or points with equal salinity inside ocean or sea, they are called as isohalides. Here are the two important words which you should remember: isobaths, isohalides. Completed. Now temperature, how it will be varying and what is the impact of that? See, Nana, every year Indian monsoon period, this period, southwest monsoon period, for past 20 years, India is getting suffered because of certain activity that is happening in Pacific Ocean. What happens in Pacific Ocean, Nana? In Pacific Ocean, at Central Pacific, to the west of Australia. If you see, you put your atlas in front of you, in Central Pacific, which is west of Australia, there happens is the water gets heated up very much. You all have to understand, Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean on the surface of the earth. It occupies 1/3 of the total Earth's surface. Pacific Ocean occupies 1/3 of Earth's surface. Who? Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean will be occupying 1/3 of largest ocean on the Earth's surface, and it occupies 1/3 of Earth's surface. And if you think total our Earth is 3 acres, you think 1 acre is occupied by waters of Pacific Ocean. You can understand. Remaining continents and other oceans. Remaining 2 acres, other oceans, other continents. So now you can understand what a big and huge Pacific Ocean is. Pacific, the word is given by Magellan. Magellan, the first man who sailed around the world, Magellan, and he named it as Pacific because by seeing its calmness, quite how silent it is and calm it is, by seeing that Magellan, the first sailor around the world, first the man who went around the world, toured around the world on board as navigator. That man named this ocean as Pacific Ocean. Why? Because by seeing its calmness. So that Pacific Ocean occupies 1/3 of land mass, total surface of the earth. That why I am saying it is because of that only. Whatever things happen in Pacific Ocean, that will be showing impact upon land masses on the earth's surface, like continents. Continents will be getting influenced by things happening in Pacific Ocean. Able to understand? In Central Pacific, what happens is, you see India, I draw the map of India. What I am telling you about is how temperature shows its impact. If it is a hot temperature prevailing at Pacific Ocean, what happens? El Nino takes birth. If it is cold climatic condition going on, cold air going on in Pacific Ocean, it will be giving birth to La Nino. El Nino, La Nino. Temperatures, how they show impact upon our land masses. Land mass means India, Pakistan, countries or continents. Able to understand? Na? So something happening in water will be showing its impact upon the land masses. Why we are thinking about India and that Australia? The place it is again from Australia, it is Australia in Pacific Ocean. So the activity happens here just in Central Pacific. There it will be happening. What happens? Their water gets heated up very much. It is Australia, to the west of Australia, water gets heated up very much. When water gets heated up very much, the air moving on that water also turns very hot. So this hot air starts blowing towards India. It will be blowing towards India. But And when it is going towards India, at the same time India will be getting rain from Indian Ocean below the equator, which will give rainfall to India, which will be giving rainfall to India. This particular thing we will be learning about what is the southwest monsoon. The monsoon coming from the southwest direction of India into India is called as southwest monsoon. That only brings most of the rainfall for India in rainy season. We are seeing now, and most of the rain that India receives, it receives from this monsoon only, southwest monsoon. Monsoon means rain-bearing winds. Monsoon means winds which will be carrying rainfall. With rain-bearing winds we call, or periodic, they come in a particular period or season, seasonal winds. Again in atmosphere we will come across this word called monsoon. Where did it take birth from? And again the same will be there in class 10 also. Atmosphere is a very important topic for you to understand the topics in class 10. Right. Now you see southwest monsoon. As it is coming from southwestern direction of India, it is called southwest monsoon. This is rain-bearing wind. Whatever is hot wind when it is coming towards passing like this from Central Pacific, all these rain-bearing winds which have to move towards India will be going towards the hot air. It will be going towards hot air. Why it will be going towards hot air is nature of the air is to move from high pressure area to low pressure area, like that. But it means hot air, what cool air will be going towards hot air because there is low pressure also. So the winds which are putting rainfall in India, they will not give the rainfall, they go towards the hot winds. In that way, that winds, hot winds coming from Central Pacific will disturb the monsoon activity in India, in Indian landmass. Everybody understand? So this is called as, this is named, one of the Spanish scientists identified that and named it as El Nino. This hot air prevailing in Central Pacific is called as El Nino. El Nino in Spanish language means little boy or Christ child. El Nino in Spanish language it gives a meaning that a little boy or a Christ, child of Christ. Okay, El Nino is a Spanish word. In Spanish, it means like little boy, and or Christ child. Okay, right. So when El Nino is there, then we will be disturbing the monsoon activity in India, and India will not get rainfall during this season. That will be showing its impact upon our agricultural activity. Our agriculture will get spoiled, will not get food grain sufficient enough after completion of that agricultural season, agrarian season. Okay, that is June to September. We will get good quantity of food grains at the time only, when there is good rainfall. And when it is good rainfall, it is called in terms of agriculture as a good year. And if rainfall is not there, it is a bad year. So El Nino will be caused for a bad year. Whereas bad rainfall is there, no rainfall is there, no agriculture, and we have to suffer for food grains. So that is El Nino. When it happens, when hot air gets generated in the Central Pacific, which is in the west of Australia. Same. At times what happens is, cool air will be prevailing over there. Cool air will be prevailing in Central Pacific. Cool air will be prevailing in west of Australia in Central Pacific. And again this cool air also comes towards India. And this cool air comes and joins in the room. The rain winds. What happens? Huge rainfall. Now we are seeing in monsoon. Almost all every day it is raining. But it is almost all it is raining every day. And this is called as La Nino. When it is hot air, that hot air which is getting generated at Central Pacific to the west of Australia, it is named as El Nino. And if it is cool air getting generated there at Central Pacific to the west of Australia, then it is called La Nina. When it is La Nina, good quantity of rains will be there because cool air will be coming towards India. It will be joining with the rain-bearing trees, and more water will be in the form of rain, and our rivers will be strong, and entire country will get good rainfall, and good agriculture will be there. So this is called La Nina, which is also a Spanish word. This Spanish word means little girl. La Nina. Cool air, is called La Nina. L-A, it has a small hyphen, and a N-O. La Nina. It is cool air coming from Central Pacific, which is to the west of Australia, and that is called La Nina. La Nina is a Spanish word, and that La Nina, Spanish word means that little girl. Little girl. El Nino, little boy, Spanish word, right? When a hot air is there, El Nino. Cool air develops near Central Pacific Ocean, then automatically it is called as La Nina. So that will show the impact upon rainfall that exists in India. El Nino will disturb the rainfall activity in India, whereas La Nina will help to get more rainfall in India, right? So ocean temperatures, the temperatures of ocean are seen in the influence and factors. What are the factors that influence? What are the factors that influence the temperature of seas and oceans are? One, latitudes, where the sea is present, on which latitude it is present, is close to equator or far away from equator, or in the middle of poles and equator, where it is existing. On which latitude the ocean or sea is existing. That basing on that latitude only temperature will be. If it is close to equator, more hot it will be. If it is far away from the equator, that is in the middle, somewhat cool, less temperature. And near poles, almost all cool, right? So latitude, the factors, what are the factors that influence temperature of oceans and seas? Got it? So latitude, winds, ocean currents, unequal distribution of land and water, unequal distribution of land, distribution of land and water, and seasonal change. These factors, latitude will show its influence upon the sea waters and the temperature of sea waters and ocean waters. Winds also will play, and at the same time ocean currents will also descend the temperature of a water body, either maybe sea or ocean. Unequal distribution of land and water. When land is more, water is less, so that also leads to another impact. When water is more and land is less, that also will change the temperatures that exist on the sea water or ocean water. So apart from that, seasonal changes. Basing upon the season, if it is summer, more hot the ocean water will turn. If it is winter or rainy, less hot it will be existing, right? And realistic temperature. Generally, temperatures of a sea water or ocean water will be from -2 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. -2 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius will be temperature variations in sea waters and ocean waters. What is the temperature variation will be varying from temperature will be varying from -2 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius in seas and oceans. And mostly inland seas will register. Inland seas means the seas that exist between two continents or two countries. They will be experiencing more heat than other seas, seas which are away from land masses. And up to now, the sea which is between Africa and Asia, that is the Red Sea, that exists between Africa and Asia, that experienced 38 degrees Celsius. It is the highest temperature of a saline body. Saline body means salty water body, CR ocean. 38 degrees Celsius is experienced by Red Sea. Red Sea exists in between Africa and Asia, continent of Asia. This is Africa. This is Africa. And here lies Red Sea. Red Sea. This is Asia, Saudi Arabia, and comes India, right? This is Saudi Arabia. So between Saudi Arabia, Asia, and Ethiopia, Somalia, Mozambique, Tanzania, the sea exists that is called Red Sea. This is the sea which existed. It is called Red Sea. Red Sea up to now registered highest temperature 38 degrees Celsius. Inland seas, the seas which lie between two continents like Asia and Africa, Europe and Africa, Mediterranean seas there between Europe and Africa. Like that, the seas which exist between two land masses or land bodies, they are called as inland seas. Inland seas will be existing and experiencing more temperature than the non-inland seas. Got it? And up to now, the highest temperature got registered are noticed at Red Sea, which is existing between Africa and Asia, continents of Africa and Asia. Right? What happens to the temperature now? When temperature falls down and we move deep into, water, ocean waters or sea waters, the temperature starts falling down. Up to 1 kilometer, very quickly it will be falling down. For example, I said it is 38 degrees Celsius. By the deep 1 kilometer deep you travel, the temperature will be just 80 degrees Celsius. And from there to 1 kilometer, very steep fall. Very quickly falls down as we move in deep into the sea or ocean. Up to 1 kilometer. From 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers, 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers, it will be gradually, steadily, it will be falling down. And ultimately by the time you reach 5 kilometers, it will be only 2 degrees Celsius. And after this, whatever the distance you travel, same 2 degrees Celsius will be existing. Same 2 degrees Celsius will be existing. Got it? So in this way, as we travel down deep into the waters of sea or ocean, the temperature will be falling very steeply, very speedily, up to 1 kilometer, and after that, steadily, slowly, slowly, it will be falling up to 5 kilometers. After 5 kilometers, it will be static. It will be static. It will be 2 degrees Celsius. Yeah, whatever the deep you go, that to 2 degrees Celsius only it will be. Able to understand? Right, thank you. Now, I will come across ocean currents. Ocean currents. Ocean currents are nothing but rivers that exist in the oceans now. Ocean currents are also called as ocean currents or ocean rivers. Ocean rivers. Yeah, these are nothing but the mass of water, huge quantity of water moving in a defined direction, straight ahead in a particular direction. That is called ocean current. You will understand? A huge mass of water moving in a defined direction is called a ocean current or a ocean river. Got it? You see, I will draw a map of the world. So our planet Earth. Equator divides it into 2 equal halves. Equator divides it into 0 degree equator. 2 equal halves. The mass of water will be moving from equator to poles. Huge quantity of water will be moving from equator to poles, and also poles to equator in a particular direction. From equator to poles, poles to equator in a particular direction. So define direction. It happens in northern hemisphere and also same southern hemisphere. It will be moving from equator to poles, south pole, and from south pole to equator in the same direction. So a huge mass of water moving in a defined direction under a ocean. In a ocean, it is called as ocean current. They are also called as ocean rivers. And based on the temperature, they are divided as warm currents and cold currents. Based on the temperature, they got divided into warm currents and cool currents You all know. It is very hot near equator poles, near equator, as sun rays falls straight over the head. So intensity of heat is more. That's why it will be very much more near equator. Temperature will be. As we move to the higher latitudes, what happens to temperature? Temperature falls down. By the time we reach the poles, it is very cold, freezing. It is totally ice capped. North Pole and South Pole. Arctic Circle totally ice capped. Above Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere up to South Pole, it is totally ice packed, snow packed, isn't it? Temperature decreases. So you can understand, warm currents are the currents which will be moving from equator to poles. From equator to poles, either in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere, whatever the ocean currents that are moving from equator to poles, means from hotter region to the cool region, they are called warm ocean currents. And the ocean currents which are moving from poles to north pole to equator and south pole to equator, they are called cold ocean currents. They are called cold because they are coming from the coldest poles, south pole and north pole towards equator. They are called cold ocean currents. Warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents. Based on temperature, we classify them into warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents. Warm ocean currents move from equator to pole, whereas cool ocean currents move from poles to equator. From the ice region of ice and snow, the snow-covered region to equator, cool. So now, basing on the speed, if this ocean water is moving very speedy, ocean water is basing on the speed and basing on speed of the water, basing on the speed, we divide them into two more. If it is very speedy, the ocean current is moving very speedily, then it is called stream. What it is called? If it is based on speed. Speedy ocean currents are called stream. Slow ocean currents are called drift. drift. Speed moving ocean currents are called streams of water. We see when it is raining in front of our home, streams, water goes in streams. If it is moving speedily, here stream means ocean currents which are moving with speed. If ocean current is moving slow, either from equator to pole or pole to equator, then it is called drift. What it is called drift? D-R-I-F-T, drift. What it done? Based on temperature, they got classified into warm currents and cool ocean currents. Warm ocean currents and cool ocean currents, and warm currents and cool currents. Based on the speed, they got divided into stream and drift. If the ocean current is moving briskly, very speedily, then it is called stream. which is moving slowly, then it is called drift. Okay, right. Now, what are the factors that influence the ocean currents? We are going to see factors that influence the ocean currents. Factors that influence the ocean currents. Centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. And winds, movement of wind. Movement of wind. Movement of wind. Precipitation. And solar energy. The fourth factor is solar energy. Right. You see now, centrifugal force. Where this centrifugal force can be developed? Centrifugal force gets developed near equator. Why? Because Earth is moving around itself. That's called what we call the rotation, isn't it? When Earth is moving around itself, the circles. What are called circles? Latitudes are called circles. These circles which are close to the equator, they come in contact with they get coincide with the equator. They move along with the equator. Got it? That creates a huge force over there. And what is that force? Centrifugal force. In centrifugal force, what happens now? The body which will be moving will be made to be away from the center. Got it? For example, when you are going on a bike or a car, on Tirumala God Hills or Narasimhaswamy temple here, Hillock in Khammam, what happens then when you are taking a turn, when a curve comes, you will not go close to the car, you will be moving it. Why? Because the body the force, inclination over there will make us to move away and take that turn. We will not go very close to that center, because the force will be driving away from the center. Got it? So that is called centrifugal force, and centripetal force you studied in your physical sense. I need not explain that much. So that force gets developed here in the equator. When that force gets developed, what happens? The water in the body here, when we push it away from the center of the equator, either in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere. And when water is pushed away, it gives birth to a mass of water moving from the equator to pole in the southern hemisphere and also in the northern hemisphere. That's how ocean gets current will be forming because of centrifugal force. Water will be pushed. Certain point of water will be pushed from equator towards poles. And in the northern hemisphere and also in the southern hemisphere. So then what happened? A ocean current got formed. So centrifugal force that emerges near the equator because of coincidence of other latitudes with the equator. Our latitudes are called as circles in your textbook. That's all. Latitude is nothing but circle. So why they are getting coincide? Because of the rotation of the earth. So that creates a centrifugal force. When centrifugal force gets developed, body will be moved away from the center. As a result, water will be moved away. You see, this is close to equator will be moved away towards poles, and that gives birth to a ocean current. What ocean current will be taking birth? Warm ocean current, because water is moving from equator to poles. Warm ocean current takes its birth. You will understand that? Alright, winds. Wind, when it is moving with a great speed, what happens? It creates a gliding friction. Gliding friction. Gliding friction. What is gliding? Moving in the air is called gliding. So that air moving will be creating a friction with a great speed. And because of that, the water glides, moves along with the wind to other areas. A huge quantity of water. Huge quantity of water moving away from polar region to equator or equator to polar region, that gives birth to a ocean current. What it done? That will give wind which is moving with a great speed. You might have seen. At times, even cars will be flying high because of a gale or huge wind comes. Tornado occurs. Tornado, you think? Tornado, we can't stand. It will lift us. Our cars also, buildings also. Tornado will be lifting. Whirling wind. We might have seen in Florida, America. Many times it will be seen in Florida, America. Got it? So the eastern coastal states, Atlantic states on Atlantic coast will be experiencing tornadoes. A wind coming with a great speed, maybe whirling wind or naturally coming wind with a great speed. Whatever, it will carry water along with it, existing in the ocean bodies or sea bodies near to the equator or near to the poles. And huge water moving from poles to equator or equator to poles is nothing but ocean current. A wind which is blowing with a speed of 50 miles or 80 kilometers you can walk. 80 kilometers or 50 miles. It will be carrying water to a distance of, if it is going to 50 miles, 0.75 miles, it will be carrying the water to a distance of. It is going 80 kilometers, 1.2 kilometers, it will be dragging the water along with it from the place where it is. Water is nearly, it will lift it up to there 1.2 kilometers or up to 0.75 miles. But if you count in miles, 0.75. Kilometers is 1.2 kilometers. If you can build speed of the wind 50 miles, then it is 0.75 miles. The water will be dragged. And if it is counted in kilometers, 80 kilometers, 1.2 kilometers, it will be dragged away from the point where it is existing, move water by wind. So, this gliding friction of wind is a cause for movement of water, huge quantity of water from equator to poles or poles to equator. That's why ocean currents take birth because of the movement of the wind. Precipitation. Naturally, precipitation will be very much near equator. Why? Because more water gets evaporated near the equator because of extreme heat. Because of extreme heat, more water gets evaporated into the atmosphere. More water went into the atmosphere, what happens? Automatically by it is very hot, up to 12 o'clock it will be very hot. Good quantity, by 2 o'clock good quantity of water goes high in the atmosphere and huge clouds are formed, and clouds are with full of water droplets. Little cool air coming somewhere from the hills makes the clouds to shut down that water in the form of rain. And when it is raining more near the equator, what happens there? It is not a glass in the equator to hold the water coming in. It will push the water to next level. Means when more water happens near the equator, it will be pushing towards poles and it will be pushing towards the north pole or it will be pushing towards south pole. That will give birth to ocean currents. So, three factors we came across. One, centrifugal force is one factor, movement of wind is one factor, precipitation is one factor. Now, solar energy. What did I say? Solar energy is more. What happens near the equator? More evaporation takes place, isn't it? More evaporation takes place. Got it? And more evaporation will be resulting in what? More precipitation. That's why the precipitation which occurs, it will increase the height of water up to 8 meters. Up to 8 meters the water will be getting increased in near the equator. Right? Make a part of the ocean resources. Yeah, 8 centimeters, not meters. Centimeter, 8 centimeters. will be an increase of height of the waters of the oceans and seas near equator because of solar radiation or solar energy, 8 centimeters. And 8 centimeters because of solar energy, 8 centimeters will be there, not 8 meters. No, sorry, I beg your pardon. 8 centimeters will be the water increasing in its height near equator because of solar radiation or sun's heat. Right. Now, what are the uses of oceans? Oceans uses we all know. What we get? Table salt, which we are eating, we get sea and ocean. Fishes we will get. Only these things we get from that. Oil and natural resources we will get from the oceans only. But what else for? Oceans are useful for navigation, moving from here to there and carrying the goods. Waterways. In making the waterways, they are very useful, right? After that, what else more? What else more we get from the oceans and seas? We get a good fish well, and also valuable gems like pearls and what we can call coral aspects. We get pearls, gems, corals from bed of the sea. So we get fish, prawn, crab, with all the ready fish food. As well, say table salt we get. Many variety of chemicals we get from the sea. Petroleum, fossil fuels like petroleum and its byproducts, kerosene, we offshore drilling will get all these things. Apart from that, how we are spoiling this natural resources called ocean and sea. We are dumping all our bio waste, which comes from our bodies, plastic in the seas and oceans. And not only this, the most dangerous one, electronic goods after completion of these cell phones are used and they are worn out. We are dumping all these radios, televisions, all which are out of working. They are dumped in seawater and ocean waters. Apart from that, certain times where nuclear plants are there for production of power electricity, they, after using the radioactive element in the nuclear plant, like uranium, thorium, their products are left into sea waters and ocean waters. And that is consumed by fishes and so on. If that fishes we eat, it will be a threat to our life. So, the natural made water bodies are getting contaminated by human beings. Human beings are the most living beings on the earth who take many things from the nature and environment, but will not give anything back to the environment. Other living beings, in one way, they take from environment and they give back to the environment, they protect the environment. But we people destruct the environment. We should be cautious and we all should be determined to protect these water bodies, to see that water aquatic life should be protected. 84 lakh variety of living beings are there on the surface of the earth. Out of that, 80% are inside the water, oceans and seas only. But only 20% are there on the land mass. All the snakes, frogs, turtles, birds, you see, these are only 20%. 80% are living inside the water, means we are dumping all these